All right, guys. It is 12:45, and it is about time for us to start the SEO session. So just wanted to, guys, introduce to you the topic of the session: Fishers of Men, SEO for the church. The goal and the heart, obviously, behind everything that we're doing is to be able to spread the gospel in new and interesting ways. And the internet provides a great place for us to start doing that. It's a place where traditionally our churches have not really entered into, but it's something that Kayla has been a big proponent of, and I've been a big proponent of trying to push our churches, I guess, into the new millennia and try to get us into on the internet a little more visible. So just a little about me. I got my bachelor's degree in 2006. I right out of college, I got a job in marketing. Worked in marketing continually through 2014. Obviously, 2006 we had the recession. So in 2014, I needed something that kind of helped me stand out a little bit from all the other people that were I was going up against in job interviews. So I got my master's in internet marketing. That really opened up a lot of doors for me. So, from there, I was able to work with global brands in the hotel industry. I was able to work with national brands, and then obviously local mom and pop businesses, or in this case, some churches, help increase their visibility as well. In 2016, I started hit-a-click marketing. So that's kind of my story, my backstory, very brief, very high level. And we are going to jump into to some more meat and potatoes now. So right off the top, I just want to make sure that one thing is clear. If your website is not responsive, you're fighting an uphill battle, right? You have one arm tied behind your back. So if you are working on a website that does not work on a mobile phone as smoothly as it does on a desktop, please start there. That's where we really need to go, because mobile search continues to increase. There are now more mobile searches than there are on desktop. So it is the direction that everybody's had to have moved already. Google has even said that if your website's not responsive, you're not going to rank as well. So there are a couple things that Google does, and we have to obey. And obviously, this is just a simple, smart way to go. So we want to make sure that right off the top, that your websites can get where they need to get to. A little stat to start off as well: 93% of users start their journey with an online search. Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Obviously, as far as search share is concerned, Google takes up the lion's share. Right, so they're more than 60% of all searches. They have that market share. So as I said before, anything Google kind of mandates, we go. We want responsive websites. We say okay. So we have to make sure that we are appeasing them, because they have so much. There's so much search volume coming through their portal. And 46% of Google searches are for local businesses, right? So this is where it kind of hits home for you guys, the churches, and any other local business, really. We want to make sure that, that 46% of users that are looking for a local search, that they're finding us, right? Us as the church. I put a little picture, a screenshot of the church in Broward. I typed in church in Broward, and you see the Broward Church came up in what we call the map pack, right? So there are a couple different search results that you'll find if you do a Google search. This is that local map pack, right? So this is local search result, and what we want to look at here is the reason why they're on here, right? So what we've done is we've built their online visibility, but more importantly, we have their Google business listing set up. Right. So if we go back to the last slide that we did, we saw Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Each one of those has a business listing that businesses need to claim. If you guys want to be on any type of local search directory, within any of those search engines, you definitely need to have these set up and optimized, right? So we can see here, even though Broward has less searches than or less reviews than the next First Baptist, they're up there, right? So Google's algorithm kind of dictates that, but we want to make sure that when we set up those business listings, we have the name, the business description, all the details that you can do in the back end. Fill it out as much as possible, and then after that comes reviews. Reviews is a pretty big portion of how Google will rank you guys for these local searches. So make sure that those are set up properly so that you guys have the best chance possible to rank locally when somebody types in on any of those search engines. Again, all three have these different, very similar map packs. So we want to make sure that you guys are taking advantage of that. So let's look at some offsite factors. Obviously, what we looked at with the Google business listing, that is an offsite SEO task. There are some other offsite tasks that will make an impact to your business, right, or to the church, right, to the church's website. Your reputation. Does your brand have a positive reputation online? This reputation can directly correlate to backlinks, right? So backlinks is the fifth one on there. If you are associating with poor websites, really this doesn't have to doesn't really apply to you guys. This applies to other businesses that try to maybe buy links or do things that are quote unquote unethical by Google. But if there are poor quality websites directly linking to you or you directly linking to them, your reputation can get tarnished, right? So, but your reputation does play a factor in all that, right? So social media. Did you know that your social media, what you do on social media, your engagement, everything that happens on social media, do you know that affects your SEO rankings, right? So we want to make sure that you guys are aware of these offsite factors. History, how long has the site been accessed by the user before? This one, obviously, if it's been accessed by a user, they're more apt to show it again on a search result. But the actual history of your domain, the age of your domain will actually be a determining factor as to how well you can rank as well. If you're a new URL, it may be harder. It is going to be harder for you to rank than a URL that's been a website and URL that's been active for more than 10 years. They have some reputation behind them to help them rank better. Consistent branding, right? So we call that, you see a little NAP at the end, name, address, phone number, right? So your brand has to be consistent all across the internet. So if it is Broward Church of Christ, it should be Broward Church of Christ everywhere. That Google business listing should say Broward Church of Christ. If it's Broward Church, which Broward Church obviously rebranded to be Broward Church, everything had to be rebranded. Every business listing, every citation, any little thing that said Broward Church of Christ, we had to rebrand to Broward Church. We want to make sure that it's consistent across the internet so that Google can validate your identity. So this is another huge thing, and not just the name. We have the address, your phone number, any of those important details, name, address, phone number, have to be consistent across the internet. If you change your phone number, if you change the address, all of that has to be updated. It's time consuming, but if you set it up appropriately in the beginning, it's just maintenance after that. So we want to make sure that you guys are aware to do that. Again, we talked about backlinks already. Are you getting backlinks from maybe other churches, other organizations locally? I want to make sure that you're not getting poor quality backlinks from websites that have bad reputations. And then reviews. Again, we talked about that as well. On those listings, we definitely need to get those reviews up and running, sending those out to your congregation, sending an email out, right? You don't want all the reviews coming from one IP address. Google will see that if you have them all come into church on Sunday and say, okay, everybody leave a review really quick. Google sees that one IP address just flooded with a bunch of different reviews, right? So you don't even want all reviews coming in the same day, right? Even if they're from different IP addresses, you want them all coming at different times staggered so that it looks more legitimate, it looks real, right? Instead of you know, us or you guys soliciting those reviews. Google does not want that to do that. So that the reviews is a way to maximize your Google map ranking. Getting the consistent branding is a great way. And obviously, when we talk about building your brand offsite, right, we're talking about social media. We're talking about making sure that your brand is accurate everywhere online, so that you have a better chance of getting that visibility online. So we will talk a little bit more in the Q&A after, and I'll give you guys some tools you guys can use. So obviously we went off-site, and now we're going to be going on-site, right? So keyword rankings, you know, where your site is ranked for a search in search engines for a keyword, has a major impact on your web traffic, lead gen, and conversions. More than half of all search engines users click on the result of the first page, right? Everybody knows that. Nobody goes to the second page. So we want to make sure that you know, you guys understand what this is, and then we'll jump on site to give you guys some answers as to, you know, where we're moving and how we can maximize our visibility with some on-site tasks. So if your church has different locations, let me just answer that really quick. You can optimize for all 9 locations if you have access to that, right? So we'll answer more questions again in the Q&A. So on-site, now we're jumping on the website, what you guys can be doing. You know, there's something called the meta title, right? Which in this case, it's church in Broward County. So that's the keyword that we want to rank for. So when somebody types in church in Broward County, we want to make sure that we have the best opportunity to rank highly for that keyword phrase, right? And then we did a pipe bar, and then their slogan, church not for ourselves, right? We could have put Broward Church, but that's a little bit redundant because we put church in Broward. So a church not for ourselves, I think that was a good use of our space and characters there, because we have to limit it. It can't be too much, or, you know, Google won't count it, and it won't fill on the screen. It'll go over. It'll flow over on the screen, and people won't be able to see it, right? And then you have your meta description, right? So meta description is not necessarily an SEO factor, but we want to make sure that if this is a search result, I screenshotted, this is a search result when I put in church in Broward, you know, that's the description, right? Whether through our worship, preaching, children's ministry, we hope to motivate members alike to live a life devoted to ... right? I'm sure it's Jesus Christ, and it just didn't fit. Sometimes, you know, Google will expand it, and sometimes they'll reduce it. But we got the main gist of what the church is about, right? So if you leave that empty, Google's going to pick whatever they can out of your website and throw it in there. So we want to make sure that you are intentional with your meta title and your description, right? So each page has a different meta title, and then honestly, that's based on keywords that you want to rank for, right? And that's doing keyword research, seeing what people are typing in your local area. Church near me. There's different keywords that are going to be used in different areas that are the same across, right? So, you know, church in that local area, church in that city, church near me. Those are going to be the 2 most popular ones, right? So, and then it's doing research to see what else people are typing in, right? So there's a lot of different opportunities and tools out there to see, you know, some of those the search volumes for some of those keywords. So again, now we go back to on-site factors. We're still there on on-site factors. So here's what we call image optimization, right? So this is a screenshot of the back end of WordPress. This again is Broward's website. This is a picture that they're using for their ministry, their singles ministry page. So I just wanted to show you guys how it's been optimized, right? So right off the bat, we see a file name. That first little arrow is the file name. So that's where it was on somebody's computer. They took it, it got on somebody's computer, they renamed it on their computer, and then they uploaded it to the website, in this case WordPress, with that name, Single Ministries Broward Church, right? So Google cannot read images, right? So we have to give them some tools to read images, right? We have the opportunity to tell them what the image is, what it's about. And the first step is that file name, right? So a lot of file names I'll see for businesses is going to be Canon 1 2 3 4 10 1, you know, so a million numbers, and it just doesn't make any sense. You know, iPhones, they all kind of have these numerical text of names that they'll give to an image, and then when they're uploaded, Google has no idea, right? So we want to start there and get the file names all optimized so that, you know, Google can understand that. And then what happens in here is the next thing you do is that alt text, right? So this basically describes the image. It tells Google what the image is about, right? So the alt text for this image is pretty similar to the file name. It doesn't have to be. Single ministry at Broward Church, right? I could have put single ministry meeting at Broward Church, right? That might even be a little bit better. But the point is we want to make sure that we are describing the image to Google, right? So, you know, Google has there's little bots that crawl these the website, and they're looking at all these different things. So we got to make sure that they understand what our website's about. And this is just one of those ways, right? Is optimizing, right? And then the image optimization is one of those things that a lot of churches, a lot of businesses in general, they don't do. And it's something easy enough that they can do that can help them gain some visibility. So you have 5 seconds to engage a customer before they leave your website, right? So, you know, this is very important. You guys have to understand that when you're building your website, you know, you understand that we have a limited time, right? The attention span of users are continuing to lower, they're diminishing, right? So we have to make sure that we understand that and build websites and pages that can draw attention, you know, for these users. So another on-site factor, just building good quality content, right? It seems simple, it makes sense, but this is difficult to do for a lot of businesses as well, right? So it's readability, right? So you know, I'm going to jump to word count really quick, right? It's easy to build a 1,000-word page. Maybe it's not that easy, but it's easy just to say, okay, I need 1,000 words and somebody write it. So, but there has to be readability to it, right? It can't just drone on and on and on and on. So that's where we have headers, right? So the headers is just a tag, right? I mean, not a tag, but a header title that separates content. So build good content. That little you know, 3-word quote right there, that could be a header tag, and then I'll have bullet points under it, right? So the next section could be you know, optimizing, you know, your website, and then it could be a paragraph, right? So it's talking about making sure that your content's broken down so that it's easy for users to read, right? So and there's ways to do that, again, using headers, using word count, using mixed media, right? So you know, breaking up content with an image, it's awesome, right? People can read through the content, see an image that correlates to it, great, they're happy. It's not droning on and on, throwing a video in there. It's another great opportunity. Google loves mixed media, right? They want to make sure that when they are giving results for a search, they are providing the best search result possible for their users, right? That's their #1 goal. So we, as trying to optimize websites, we want to make sure that we're serving Google as well as the reader, right? Because we could serve Google, have a website ranking well, but if the readability, if they're not staying on that page, it's going to do terrible. So we want to make sure that we're building content that's good, that's high word count, that's very readable, that's separated. The content has different headers, that has different images in it, or image, video, whatever mixed media that we can do. And then we want to link internally, right? So if your main page is the home page, if you want to maybe link to your teens ministry because you have a very young demographic in your area, campus ministry, you're in a campus city, we want to make sure that you have a lot of pages linking to that campus page, right? It's telling Google this campus page is very important. This team page is very important. So we're internally linking a lot of the other pages to that page to tell Google it's important. And obviously, when readers are on there, they're saying, oh, they have a campus ministry. They're clicking and it's taking them to their campus page. That was an internal links. Sorry, I'm reading these the comments and chats and getting a little distracted. I'll answer questions again at the end. So keyword saturation. So this is a great SEO tool that you guys are going to be able to use. We went back to that meta title. If we go back to that meta title, we saw, church in Broward County, right? So church in Broward County is a meta title. We want to have something in that content talking about a church in Broward County or church wherever you guys are from, right? We want to make sure that that content correlates. Everything correlates to one another, right? So Google wants to make sure when they're reading content on the page, it all correlates down to 1, 2, or 3 keywords, right? So that gives you the best chance to rank. If you have a meta title that talks about one thing and the content's completely something else, you're not going to rank well, right? Because there's a disconnect between that content and the meta title, or the alt text on the images is different, right? We want to make sure everything correlates really well together so that Google can understand this is what they're trying to rank for. This is what the page is about, and you have a great chance of ranking. So readability and word count, you can break that down with headers, keyword saturation, mixed media, and internal links. Okay, so now you went on site, now we're going to jump off site again with some, actually this is on site, but this is technical, right? So these are things that you guys can be doing. I've seen it, I saw it yesterday on websites that are not going to rank too well because of one thing, right? And this is SSL certificates. Google has already said, and I've already said, that they want the best search result possible for their searchers, right? And part of that is they want to make sure that each user is having a safe search experience. So if they're going to a website, SSL certificates are almost required now, right? So you're still going to have an opportunity to rank without an SSL certificate, but if there are churches in your area that do have SSL certificates and are a safe website because they're secure, they're going to rank better. In the end, they're going to rank better. So we want to make sure that this is set up on your website, and not just that it's set up, but that it's implemented on every page, right? Because what I've seen when I go to a website, they have SSL and they have it on the home page, but on an About Us page, it's not. And it's usually an image that's causing it. But the point is that you want to check all of your pages. Once you get it implemented, check all your pages. You're going to look for a little lock. If you look in your browser right now, you probably see a little lock right next to app.hopin.to. There's a little key, a little lock thing there, and it's closed, right? So that means that this site is secure. I do not have to worry about any issues to my personal security because I'm on a secure website, right? So that's the same. Google wants to make sure that their searchers are having a safe search experience. SSL is huge. I've seen a lot of churches' websites, a lot of business websites that don't have this set up, and if they do, it's not set up in a way that it's giving them the best opportunity to rank. So get that fixed or get it if you don't have it. Big factor that can help out. Okay, website speed. If a site loads quickly, obviously visitors are going to be more likely to stick around, right? So this is I think a pretty obvious thing for most people, and it's something that it's not easy, right? So website speed is an important factor to Google. Google uses that within their algorithm to determine how well you can rank. And then users, on the other hand, obviously you're not going to wait for a website to load for too long if it's doing terribly, right? So they're going to bounce off. They're going to go find another website that's loading well and stay on there and find the information that they need. So we want to make sure that the website speed is loading quickly. And there are some ways and some tools, again, that we can use to find that I can talk. But things that slow down website speed, let me stop there. So we talked about image optimization, right? One thing I did not talk about is that image that you took with that Nikon, that Canon, your iPhone, whatever phone you have, that image is going to have huge pixels. It's going to be a monster picture, right? So when you upload that 3 megabyte picture, that's slowing your website down. Break down those images into small bite-sized pieces, right? So 400 by 400 is an image size that's plenty big to put, on a page, right? So you don't want anything too big. Images are the biggest things that slow things down, and then obviously videos are a huge thing. But most of the time, people use images, right? So that's why that's the biggest factor of slowing a website down. But in this case, there's a link down there for Broward Church, right? So one of the things that I've been going back and forth with Tony is that video that they have on that homepage. It's awesome, right? So that's where it's so difficult for me, because I have to tiptoe that line between great content and trying to make sure it's going to be SEO friendly, right? So that video that they have that automatically loads up, that slows down their website. It really does. We've been working consistently to make sure everything else is quick, so that that slowdown doesn't affect people leaving the site. And the great thing is we have data to kind of look, okay, are people leaving the site? Are they bouncing? Is this video taking too long for them? Are they not willing to wait? And so even with that video kind of slowing things down, people are willing to wait. They're willing to see it. Again, it's not too slow of a website. But people are willing to wait. The rest of the content loads up, so they're able to kind of scroll through. But that's one of the big factors as well, right? Images and videos. So make sure you do those appropriately and shrink down those image sizes so that you can have a good user experience and a slower website. So 46% of users will not return to a poorly performing website, right? So we kind of just touched on this. We have slow websites that can be doing it. We have SSL. If you've ever come to a page that says website not secure, that could be an SSL issue. So there are things that will definitely be deterrents to users coming onto your website. So we want to make sure that we touch on some of those technical factors so that we can overcome those things and make sure that we have a best chance of really just spreading the gospel, in a way that's going to be good for users on online. More technical factors, right? So a lot of SEO is technical, right? It's just understanding some of the simple things that we can do. Some of this it's going to be too technical, but some of this is not, right? So let's go with architecture, right? So if you have, so we have a link right there in the chat, right? browardchurch.org, right? So if we were to put a pipe, a slash on that, like going in the internal page, and it was groups.123.html, right? Like that's a bad use of URL subdomain, right? The architecture, right? We want to make sure that the subdomains, the subpages are going to be clear and concise, right? So browardchurch.com/family groups, right? It's not, and it's family-groups, right? We want Google to be able to read words, read the content, and it starts from that URL down, right? So it's appropriate uses of the subdomains and directories within your URL. An XML sitemap. This is something that is usually auto-generated within like Yoast. If you guys have a WordPress website, Yoast is a great plugin, and it'll auto-generate an XML sitemap. Basically, this gives Google the ability to read your website without having to go to each page. It's a layout. It's a sitemap. It's just a map of your website, right? Done within code, right? It's a coded map of your website, and it makes it really easy for Google's bots, for Bing, for all those to be able to read your website, the pages that are on it, and index it in a very easy way. Robot.txt. Basically, this lists the pages not to index. So every website has a login page, right? And that page, usually you don't want public access to it, or you don't want people to be able to find it, because that's when the hackers come in. Although WordPress, it's pretty easy for people to find it. But what you do, there's other factors that you would do, other security measures you would take. And part of that is not, putting your login as admin, not doing simple login names. or easy login passwords, right? There's some simple things we can do there. But I'm digressing a little bit. Index, has the page been indexed, right? So that's you can go online and type in your website on Google and see if they're indexing any of those pages. Google Search Console is a great tool that you guys can use, and that has, that once you log in, you get access to it all. It'll show you what pages have been indexed. It shows you a lot of technical data for your website. Google does see hidden pages if it's not done correctly, right? So robots.txt file, sorry, that would be the place you would put a page you don't want found, right, by Google. It's a document that says, Google, we don't want this page indexed. So thank you, Doreen. That's great. Yeah, Search Console. So hidden pages, it all depends as well on what you're using, how you define. Again, if you use a plugin like Yoast, there's an option to be able to hide a page, and yes, Google won't index that, and it won't see it. So it just depends on how you're hiding the page to determine whether they'll find it or not. So broken links, SSL. We talked about SSL already. Broken links. I mean, it's simple. If you put up a blog last month, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, where I see this are older blogs, right? Something that's older than 6 months ago that was put in, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, somebody on the back end removes the blog and doesn't do a forwarding page, right? It doesn't forward that URL to a new one, right? Broken links will lead to people finding their answers somewhere else, right? So if you have a page, even a website, right? So Orlando Church, we are getting ready to open up a new website, right? And a new domain, right? So it's going to go from theorlandochurch.com to orlandochurch.org, right? So if we just go orlandochurch.org and we don't do anything with orlandochurch.com, this is going to bounce, right? If we close that down, anybody that's trying to find that's everywhere. That's still online everywhere. So they're going to go to that website. It's going to go 404 error. They're not going to find it, right? So it's the same from URL. If I want to transfer that, I want to transfer anybody that hits that, I want to transfer them over to the new URL. But it's the same within your website, right? If you have a page that you had and you don't have it, forward it to a page that's talking about the same thing, right? You want something, apples for apples, so that if somebody's looking for a sermon on Moses, or if you guys did a blog on Moses and it's a blog about Moses' life and it gets removed, you want to put something that's similar. If people are looking for something about Moses, forward it to a page that talks something about Moses so that you can keep attention and keep people on your website. So this is something that I guess more on a personal note that I want to talk about. But I think it's important, right? So who is your website built for? I bring this up because, what I've seen sometimes, when I go to church websites is the websites are built for the congregation. And amen, right? I mean, we need, our users, our members to be able to find what they need on the church's website. But obviously what Kayla and I are really trying to get across is that, this website is a great evangelistic tool that we can use, right? So, building it with evangelism in mind. Obviously, we tell users how to navigate it so they can find what they need. But we need to make sure that when they come to that homepage, it's very user-friendly for somebody who's not part of our church, not part of our movement. They can find a group to get a part of, maybe a Bible study option. They can get tools that are good for them, meet them where they're at, right? And so just want to make sure that we kind of have that in mind, as we move into this new generation of trying to reach and use the internet, as a tool for outreach. Okay, so let's talk about Google Analytics, right? So if you don't have this on your website, please get it. It's such an amazing tool. Implementation is really not that difficult. You can follow that tools. If you have a WordPress website, it's pretty easy to get it set up. I can make some tutorials if that's needed as well. But everything that we're doing, if you want to figure out that Facebook post, how did it perform? How many people came to the website from that Facebook post? Google Analytics, right? You'll be able to see that. That new blog that you put up, that new sermon that you put up, the website as a whole. How are people reacting? What is their engagement when they come to our website, right? Are they on the website for 30 seconds and then leaving? Or are they spending, an average of 1 minute, 2 minutes? How many pages are they going to, when they're on our website? There is an infinite amount of data within Google Analytics that you guys can set up and look through. It's pretty amazing. And this is one of those tools that it's awesome. But it's something that's seldomly used, right? So we want to make sure that you guys understand the value of just understanding what users do when they come to the website and how campaigns that you guys are running online, how they are performing. So it's a free tool that Google gives away. And whatever your website's built on, there's going to be a simple way to implement it, right? This is the standard. Google Analytics is the standard. Every website builder understands that, and they've made a way for you guys to implement it in the easiest way possible. So again, if there are any questions, I'm more than happy to help out. So get this up and running, get it done. One of the things I wanted to talk about was Google Grants. It's a very awesome opportunity for nonprofits, right? And obviously the churches are nonprofits. Essentially what Google's doing is they're saying, hey, we understand that nonprofits, have this status for a reason. We want to help out, so we will give you up to $10,000 of free ads on Google, right? So if we do a search on Google, church in wherever, you'll have some ads that pop up at the top, right? So Google gives you up to $10,000 each month to put your ads at the top of that page, right? So it's pretty phenomenal. So you won't hit 10,000. At least I don't suspect you will. But I mean, it's amazing to have that amount of money at our grasp, right? So it is a time-consuming process to set up. You have to go back and forth with Google. You have to show your letter of 501c3, but it's definitely worth going that route and getting it set up. I've worked with several ministries or several nonprofits, I should say. Obviously, Broward is included, but some other outside the church nonprofits, getting it all set up. And some of the bigger ones, we're seeing close to that $10,000 mark each month. But for local churches, there's a lot of local searches. So we don't hit, for Broward, we don't even come close to 10,000 of that ad spend each month. But it's free money that they're using. So it's free, and the only string attached is that you have to meet specific performance metrics. So basically, they don't want you wasting their money on garbage, right? If you are a church in Broward and I want my ad to come up when somebody types in birthday cake, Google's going to deny it, and we will be it will let us know we have to fix that, or they will deny us the Google grant, right? So they want legitimate searches coming in for those results. I don't think it's available for outside the U.S. That's a great question, but right now I can search and check that out. But yes, I mean, so they want you to have, when you put in the back end of Google AdWords, if any of you have ever used Google AdWords, that's basically the system you're using with Google Grants, right? You're setting up your keywords that you want to rank or that you want to come up for. You're setting up the ads, and there are thresholds that, again, there are metrics that you have to hit. If you get lower than a 5% click-through rate for consecutive months, you will be suspended from the Google Grants, and you might lose it, right? So there are performance metrics that you have to hit. So that's why it's kind of important it's not a set it and forget it type of thing. but it's something that it's a great opportunity, but you need somebody that's going to be on it monthly. You have to be on it because you could at any point lose it, and to try to get it back is going to be a pain in the butt because you have to prove that you're going to do things differently this time around. So that's something that I just really wanted to bring up. It's a very complex process. I recommend you guys, give it a shot. If you can let me know. I can help. But it's a complex process, but it's definitely worth it. So when we talk about Google Grants, when we talk about keyword rankings on the website, obviously I've spoken of keyword research, right? Finding out what keywords people are using, online, right? What they're searching for. There's Google Keyword Planner. That's a great tool to use. That's part of the Google AdWords system, right? So you can create, as long as you have a Gmail, you can create, you can get into the Google AdWords system and then go to that keyword planner and then type in keywords. They'll give you suggestions of what people are typing in. So not only, will you find out how many searches are coming from, whichever word you put in, but there's another section where it'll give you, these are what people are typing in. So you guys can get some ideas there as well. And that's obviously, we're using that for AdWords, for the Google Grant system, for SEO, for organic rankings. We want to see what people are typing in the area. So, and that is awesome. So really happy that's the whole goal, right? That's the whole goal of this entire thing, really. It's just like spreading the gospel through the internet, through internet marketing, whatever you want to call it, right? So that's the end goal. So amen. That people are finding the church through websites, through online, and Kayla and I's heart. That's it, right? That's spreading the gospel through new avenues. So we want to make sure that we are resources for you guys and tools for you guys. And part of that, the tool process that I like to give away is there's a technical checklist. We kind of talked about some of those tasks that you guys should be doing on your website. But I have a PDF SEO checklist that we created as an agency, and you're more than welcome to get it. You can email me or you can join our Facebook group. I created a Facebook group just for our churches. And you can join that Facebook group. It's already in there. My last presentation is in there as well. So some more information that I didn't include in this one. The last one was very high level. I think I scared some people from the church with too much technical data. So I try to bring it down a little bit this time around. But if you join that group, you have those resources right at your fingertips. And what I want that group to be used for is just a place where we can talk. You can ask questions and I can be there and answering, right? It's better than going back and forth via email, because your question is probably the same question that, a church, 10 states away, 5 states away has, right? So we want to make sure that we have one place where we can get things and get the communication and talk and really nail down some things for the church in general, right? So feel free, join that group. It'll ask me, obviously, it'll make sure that it pings me, letting me know you're asking for access, and I'll give you access. It is called Church Marketing Strategies. It's called, yeah. I think it is called. It's got the 5 different color bars, and it's Church Marketing, Online Church. So if you go to Hit or Click, so Facebook.com, you go to Hit or Click Marketing, it'll be a group under Hit or Click Marketing, right? So it's my company, Hit or Click Marketing, and then it's a group under my Hit or Click Marketing page, right? So maybe that's an easier way to do it. Or if you just type in that URL, let's see if I can bring this over. That'd be great. Nope. I'll put it in the chat box in a minute. This is my information. If you guys need to get in contact with me, kind of popping off the screen a little bit there. But lucashitterclick.com, LinkedIn, obviously, Facebook is at Hit or Click. So if you go to that Hit or Click, Facebook page, you'll be able to find the group within it, and then obviously that's my company phone number. So feel free, guys. Reach out. I really would like to make a community online where we all can kind of go and talk about different things, and just be a community online where we can share the gospel and share what's working and what's not. So thank you guys for the time that you guys spent with me today. I don't know how long Q&A is, but we can start that now. So if anybody has any questions, I know I saw some questions before. In particular, WordPress themes that you see work particularly well for speed considerations. Honestly, I'm sure there are, but when businesses come to me that are on WordPress, there are so many different themes. I just work with whatever's given to me. I have coders on my team, so we'll make sure that we shorten code. But to answer your question, no, I don't know any particular WordPress themes because we work with whatever's given to us based on that content and how their websites are built. So thank you, guys. I'm going to go ahead and put this thing in the search. If I can get this thing up. Feel free to reach out if you guys have any questions.